got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your head. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this mad. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on, hold on. Let me pull you out. That bad luck bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. It is Saturday, May 16th. We went 3-1 on the show yesterday. All three MLB totals won. Let's just blindly play unders in every game. No. We got the under correct with Yankees, Mets, which hopefully you guys did find a 7.5 on that because a 7 would have pushed in an unlucky way. The Yankees did score 3 runs early, so that had me a little bit concerned, but the scoring slowed down, and then something crazy happened in the game when it was 3-0 Yankees. The Yankees lined a hit off of Clay Holmes' leg, and he broke, I forget if it was his fibula or his tibia. I think it was incorrectly reported. Who cares? One of his shin bones, I think it was the tibia, it fractured, and he continued to pitch. He threw 26 more pitches after that, and he was at like 69, and he wound up going 96 pitches or 95 pitches, whatever it was, in the game. Like, it was like he didn't even know his leg was broken. He just kept pitching, which I don't know if that hurt us or not there. We still got the play correct. It was 5-1 Yankees going into the 9th inning, and the Mets put up a garbage run. They had a runner on second with 2 outs, and they scored that run right at the end. So it pushed on the 7 if you did have the 7, but I did find a 7.5 at a decent enough price that that's what I gave it out at. So I will score it as a win. We had under in Red Sox Braves, easy, not even close. The only worry there was, is this going to go into extra innings? Because the Red Sox, I believe they were down 2-0, and then they tied it at 2. The worry is, of course, the ghost runners in extra innings. You need a lot to go wrong at that point to have that under not win, though. But I think the Braves just won the game in the 9th inning anyway or something, so it was a 3-2 final. And then the under in San Diego, Seattle was ridiculously easy. 2-0 San Diego win, I'm pretty sure, in that game. That was under the whole way, man. And then we got killed on the NBA game with the Minnesota T-Wolves. If you look at what happened in that game, though, like, yeah, I think the T-Wolves got completely out-rebounded and whatever, but the shooting was just insane. Like, San Antonio probably shot 60% from the field in that game. They missed nothing. Like, I'm pretty sure Minnesota had more field goal attempts in the game by a double-digit amount, and they lost the game by like 30 points. You never see that. A team that has that many more field goals than the other team, field goal attempts than the other team in the game, and not only do they not cover, they lose by 30. Like, it makes absolutely no sense, dude. So, like, from a shooting perspective, there's nothing you could do about it. When the other team is just shooting the lights out and not missing anything at all, you can't do anything about it. So, yeah, I'm not happy about that, but I don't necessarily think it was the wrong handicap. I don't know. We're going to move on to today. I have 3 plays here. I'm going to give out 2 baseball plays. They're totals, and hopefully we can continue with that. And I have one hold on a second. I have one other play here. I have a play on the hockey game, but let me I got to get it into the system here. Hold on. And there is no WNBA or NBA today. There's no basketball at all. Hang on. There will be NBA tomorrow, though. I believe Game 7 between Detroit and Cleveland is tomorrow. And actually, I think the San Antonio OKC series actually might start as well. I have to look at that. Maybe it doesn't, though. It might be Monday. No, it has to be Monday, right? Well, no, it doesn't have to be. I don't know. I'll look. Hold on. I'm distracted. I'm getting this other play into the system. All right. Found a good price, I think, on this hockey play. So, all right. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, it's AI. Don't tell anyone. Tyson, what's up? Kyle, what's up? Sparrow, what's up? Hello, everybody. Yes, sir. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'm doing all right. I just wish I was actually putting the normal amount of money on all these things. I should just do it, man, even though I have nothing to fall back on anymore, but I have enough that I should just be doing this because this is one of the best runs that I've ever been on. It's on the bottom of the screen there right now. 78, 37, and 5 over the last 42 days here. And I believe we're on, what is it? I think we're on like a 19 and 4 run over the last like 8 days or something like that. I'd have to figure it out, but it's something like that. I don't want to get that wrong, but it's close to that. All right. Baseball will be first up here. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Pre-game is never going to fix their bullshit, man. It's unacceptable. Their site should just completely go away. Like, they're dead to me. You can't even fix your fucking market percentages, which is the main draw of your website. It's been like 3 weeks now, and you're not going to fucking fix it. Fuck off. Fuck pre-game. Wager Talk, I'm using their odds screen, even though I don't think that their numbers that they have here are as helpful to me. That's been the case, but whatever, let's do it. Rivalry weekend continues, man, with Toronto and Detroit as the first game up, as there are some afternoon games here. I believe both of my plays are in the evening, though. I have 2 baseball plays. Yes, they're both in the evening. All right, so Toronto at Detroit. I was wrong about Toronto yesterday. It was a close game. Detroit won 3-2. You know, it wasn't a play for me or anything, but what can you do? Detroit's bullpen game actually worked out pretty well for them. Toronto wound up using 3 guys out of the bullpen. Detroit used more because it was a bullpen game. They used 5. So this Detroit bullpen is not something I'm really looking to back in this game. They're 21st in bullpen ranking based on whip. Toronto is a little bit better than that. It's 17th, although not great. Detroit's been the better offense, but they haven't been as good recently. They're better at home, though. Just generally, Detroit plays better at home. They have a good home record. They're 12th in offense. Toronto is 25th. Toronto not hitting well this year. Toronto is going with a bullpen game, and I honestly have no idea what they're doing because Eric Lauer, it would be his turn in the rotation, but, you know, they've been using him behind like an opener, and I think he actually did okay. At least one of the last couple of times he was out there, but they designated him for assignment. So Eric Lauer is not even on the team anymore. How insane is that? Like, he was one of Toronto's better starters last year, and now he's off the team. So I have no idea what Toronto's doing in this game. Right now, Mason Fluharty is the listed starter, which he's going to be an opener, so I don't really think we need to handicap him, really. His numbers aren't even good. 5.4 ERA, 1.4 whip. He's been working out of the bullpen this year. He's going to be an opener, probably. He hasn't gone more than like 1 1/3 inning in any outing this year, so he's probably going to go out for 1, maybe a little bit over 1 inning, and then it's going to be a Toronto bullpen game. That doesn't seem good to me, up against Casey Mize, who is returning from the injured list. So this very injured Detroit starting rotation is getting one of their guys back here. Should help them because he actually was doing well. 2.9 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been good at home this year, 1.54 ERA at home. Hasn't pitched since late April when he got knocked out of a game against Atlanta, and that was when he got injured. But he's a veteran, you know, like these veteran pitchers, when they come back, I think they tend to do pretty well. I haven't looked at what his rehab assignments looked like, but they're kind of used to it when these guys have been in the league for so long. Like, I think they're pretty much ready to go once they get back in there, and they might actually do a little bit better than you think because they might just be excited to get back out there and pitch. Mize also actually has pretty good numbers against Toronto, although it's in a very small 16 at-bat sample size. 1 strikeout, no walks, 250 average, 625 OPS. I'm going to lean to Detroit in this game, though. They won yesterday with a bullpen game. Actually, I would do it first 5. Actually, I don't know, because Toronto's going with a bullpen game all game here, even though I don't like Detroit's bullpen, and they went with a bullpen game yesterday. But it's a Toronto bullpen game this time. Yeah, I think I would just lean Detroit full game, I guess. They're in the minus 120 to minus 130 or so range here. The money is totally disagreeing with me, as usual. 60% of tickets on Detroit, 70% of the cash on Toronto, but I want no part of whatever the hell Toronto's doing right now with that pitching. And Detroit at least is a good home team, like I said, and I think Mize might have a good outing there, and that should help you out there. I would not disagree still with going Detroit first 5 innings either, though, and then you avoid the Detroit bullpen. I could see arguments for going both ways with that. All right, Kansas City at St. Louis. I thought Kansas City had the better situation yesterday. Didn't really love Walker's matchup stats, and the game wound up going into extra innings, and St. Louis won the game. What else is new? St. Louis continues to overperform, in my opinion. I don't think they're that good of a team. They're better than we thought they would be, that's for sure, but I don't think they're as good as their record would indicate. But they're a National League team, and you know the National League has dominated the American League this season, and we're looking at a lot of interleague games today. I don't even know how many National League teams won yesterday, but I think many of them did again. So I think that dominance is continuing. Kansas City used a lot of relievers yesterday. It was an 11 or 12 inning game, I think. They used 6 guys out of the bullpen. St. Louis used a bunch as well. They used whatever that is, 5. I don't like either bullpen anyway, so I would definitely be looking to fade these bullpens here in whatever I do, or at least avoid them. St. Louis, they're 22nd in bullpen. Kansas City, 26th. We're not looking at good bullpens here. The offenses have been decent. St. Louis, 10th, way better than we thought that they would be. And Kansas City's moving up a little bit. They're at 16th, which is not too bad. To me, on the surface, this looks like a starting pitching matchup that definitely favors Kansas City, though, with Noah Cameron pitching. He was good last year in, I think, what was his second season, maybe? No, it was his first season. He pitched well last year, but this year he has not been doing well. 5.55 ERA, 1.63 whip. That's not good. He's been a little bit worse on the road, too. 6 ERA. That does worry me, man. Last time out, he only went 4 innings against Detroit, 3 walks. 4 strikeouts is fine, but you can't walk that many guys, man. He's walked multiple guys in all of his outings since his first 2 of the season. His overall numbers are not too bad, but, he has too many hits. That's really the thing. Somewhat too many walks as well, but he's many more hits than in his pitch, and that's kind of the problem with him. I know I typically go over all the numbers here, but I don't know. I'm trying to save time in some way here. His numbers against St. Louis are pretty good historically. Only 19 at-bats against them. 158 batting average allowed, 516 OPS, 3-1 strikeout walk ratio. So I think Cameron, he might be able to pitch well in this game, in this specific matchup. St. Louis is going with Kyle Leahy, who I don't think is very good. 4.31 ERA looks kind of mediocre, but his 1.59 whip is really bad. Can't put that many guys on base, man. He's been pretty much the same home and road. Those splits are not crazy. He's only given up 1 run this month in 2 outings, but if you look at what he's actually done, it's not that good. 10 strikeouts and 6 walks, so he's getting away with walking a lot of guys, and usually that comes back to bite you if you keep walking guys, and that has been the issue. He's given up too many walks and too many hits this year, man. Like, his numbers just are not very good across the board. Against Kansas City, though, he actually does have good numbers. 17 at-bats, it's a small sample. A lot of their hitters have faced him. All of them have pretty much seen him at least once. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, but a 235 average, 585 OPS allowed. So both starting pitchers actually look like they match up okay here. As insane as it sounds, I could see arguments for a first 5 inning under in this game. I know that sounds insane. I would not want the bullpens to have any part of that, obviously. The money's coming in towards the over, though, pretty strongly. 55% of the tickets on the under, 80% of the cash on the over. The total's 9. It is high for a reason. I know it's a pitcher-friendly park in St. Louis, too, so a total that's up there, that's indicating that the odds makers think this pitching is going to be bad. Some of it is because these two pitchers just have bad numbers this year. Now, yeah, I mean, if you're going to go over, you got to go full game with it because you want the bullpens in that equation because they're bad and they're not rested. But I think that the opening parts of this game might actually be lower scoring, so I would not really recommend an over in the game. And I'm going to lean Kansas City. I think Kansas City is still probably the strongest way to play this because I still think St. Louis is overrated. I think Cameron has more upside than Leahy. Like, we saw what he did last year. Like, when he's actually pitching well, he's the better pitcher out of these two. And the money seems to agree with that. 57% of the tickets on St. Louis, 64% of the cash on Kansas City. So the public seems to want St. Louis because their record is better, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to lean to Kansas City as a slight underdog in that one. Full game versus first 5, I don't think there's that much of a difference there because both bullpens suck. So if you want to just focus on the starting pitching matchup, though, you could go first 5 as well with Kansas City there, and then you just avoid any potential bullpen implosion, even though both bullpens are completely liable to do that, though. Mr. Pinsey, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Is that me? Is that a Toad? What is that? Is that a Jackson Dart jersey on him? I don't know what that is. I feel like you're giving me too much credit. Dirty Sock approves of it, though. All right, Arizona at Colorado. Arizona won the game yesterday 9-1, and Merrill Kelly had a complete game, allowing 1 run. I think it was his first complete game of his career, I think is what I saw. Merrill Kelly might start pitching better again, man. That's a good sign that he could go into Coors Field and do that. And he saved Arizona's entire bullpen. So that should help Arizona coming into this game. They didn't use anybody out of the bullpen yesterday. And they haven't used anybody for 2 days. So this is a very rested Arizona bullpen here. Even though I don't love their bullpen, they're rested, and I think they're the slightly better bullpen. Colorado used 2 guys out of the bullpen. I know we have Arizona ranked 3rd based on whip. I still don't think they're that good out of the bullpen. Their ERA is a lot higher than that, but they are better than Colorado's. They're more rested. Colorado's at 16th in bullpen, although Colorado's bullpen ERA is actually a little bit better. But I don't think Colorado is the better bullpen. Hitting-wise, Colorado has been the better team, I believe. Arizona's 21st currently. Colorado 13th. Colorado does hit better at home, although Arizona was all the offense in this game yesterday. Eduardo Rodriguez is getting the start for Arizona. He's been pretty good this year, actually. 2.25 ERA, 1.21 whip. I'm not a huge fan of his, but those numbers are better than you would expect out of him. He hasn't been as good on the road, though. 3.05 road ERA. And you got to worry about that when you're pitching in Coors Field and you're not a good road pitcher. That might be a problem. He does allow more fly balls than ground balls, which is not what you want to see in Coors Field. But he did actually pitch in the stadium one time last year, which was August 14th, and he did really well, actually. 7 innings, 6 hits allowed, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 earned run allowed. It was on a home run. But he pitched well in that game. He actually was way worse at home against Colorado the start prior to that. So that's interesting. So he did pitch well the one time he pitched here last year at least. His numbers against the Rockies are actually good overall. 226 batting average allowed, 601 OPS, 12-4 strikeout walk ratio, 53 at bats against them, although it's kind of clustered. Not all of their hitters have seen him, but most of them have. Erod, this month he's actually been really good in 2 starts against Pittsburgh, but also against the Mets, who we know can't hit. But Pittsburgh has been a pretty good offense. He's only given up 1 run this month in 15 1/3 innings. He's been basically unhittable. 6 hits over that span, but 6 walks is a problem. His walks have been a real issue still. 11 strikeouts isn't even really that many. The walks are the concern with him, man. His strikeout rate is way down because... he's getting older. He's had, I think probably multiple Tommy John surgeries now. So he just doesn't have his velocity he once had, which is a problem. So the strikeout rate is down. The walk rate is too high, but he's not allowing a lot of hits at all. So whatever he's doing, he's been difficult to hit. And I don't know what it is. He is a lefty, so, maybe he's messing with his arm angle, and that's messing hitters up. I don't know. Against Colorado, I already did that. Yeah, he has good numbers against them. He will be opposed by Tomoyuki Sugano, who is having an okay season, 4.07 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's not as good in Coors Field, which makes sense. Although he's actually allowed more home runs per inning away from home, which is weird. Yet his ERA is still way lower on the road. I don't know. But it makes sense that he wouldn't be as good at home because it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. 4.71 ERA. He hasn't been good this month at all, really. He's allowed almost 1 run an inning against the Mets, which is not a good sign, and Philadelphia, who haven't hit well this year. 3.3 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. His overall numbers, he doesn't strike out a lot of guys at all. But he's allowed way too many home runs, 9 home runs this year. Obviously, that doesn't bode well for pitching in Coors Field. Some of it is because he is pitching in Coors Field. Although, like I said, he's allowed twice as many home runs on the road, which is insane. He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning, which is good, but the strikeout rate's really low. The walk rate's a little bit high. I don't know. His whip overall, though, is still not really that bad because he's not allowing many hits. So there you go. Arizona basically hasn't faced him before. Only Arenado has ever seen him before, and he's 1 for 3. No walks, no strikeouts. So Sugano does have an unfamiliarity advantage here, if you want to call it that. Like a lot of times when hitters haven't faced a guy, they won't do as well. Colorado, by the way, they were returning home from a road trip yesterday. And I talk about when a team returns home from a road trip and they do really bad in that game, sometimes they have a tendency to bounce back in the next game because whatever it was, they got distracted by being back at home in the first game. Now that stuff's out of the way and they're going to do better in the next game. That could be the case for Colorado here, but I am not going to have a play on this game. The money is coming in towards Colorado. Arizona's got 56% of the tickets on them, 64% of the cash on Colorado. But, if I was going to go Colorado, I don't even see it like really that much of an angle to do it, though, other than the situation does favor Colorado. I'll give you that. But I think the starting pitching matchup, it's debatable. It might favor Erod. Arizona, their bullpen sets up better in this game. So all of that does worry me. You could go Colorado first 5 innings, maybe. This total is a Coors Field total at 11.5, but it has gone down, actually. Money has hit the under initially a little bit, but now it looks like it's coming back on the over. I could definitely see an argument for an under in the first 5 here, though, which I know sounds completely insane, but both these pitchers look like they have a decent matchup here. Although Sugano does allow too many balls in the air, but I could see an argument for it. You're probably looking at like 5.5 in the first 5 innings there, maybe even higher than that. Which normally I would say you don't want to go under a high total like that because the total's high for a reason. But I might see some arguments for that in the first 5 innings. Definitely not full game, though. All right. Yes, Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Rookie of the Year is the opposite of reality. Although the younger that you are, the easier it is to bounce back from Tommy John surgery. All right. Baltimore at Washington. Washington won yesterday. Washington was returning home from a road trip, and they still won, which was the same actually for Detroit and St. Louis. So a lot of those teams overcame that spot, man, which is kind of crazy. Of course, Washington and St. Louis did it because they're the National League. They're the dominant league, man. Washington beat Baltimore 3-2 yesterday. Surprisingly low scoring. I thought that game had high scoring game written all over it. Like, I didn't like the pitching matchup at all in that game. I'm shocked that it was that low scoring. Washington used 3 guys out of the bullpen in that game. Baltimore used 1. Baltimore's bullpen is very rested here. They do have a bullpen advantage in general anyway. Washington's bullpen is not good. They're ranked 24th. Baltimore is 13th. So Baltimore has a little bit of an extra bullpen edge there because they're more rested. Washington's been the better offense. They're 8th offensively. Baltimore 21st. Baltimore is going with Chris Bassett. I'm not a fan. His numbers are pretty bad this year. 5.21 ERA, 1.74 whip. He's way worse on the road. 8.27 road ERA compared to 2.91 at home. I mean, usually he is better at home, but this is pretty extreme, man. He's been awful on the road, although it is a small sample size, but it's 3 starts worth. It's enough to kind of gauge, yeah, this guy's not good at home. I don't think he's that good, dude. He pitched well in his last outing, which was, of course, at home against the A's after a bad road start at Miami. Actually, it's 4 road starts he's had this year, and 3 of them have been bad. Washington has okay offensive numbers against him. It's only a 19 at-bat sample size, though. 6 guys have faced him in this lineup. 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Meade has a home run off him. The honey liquor there, Curtis Meade. That sounds really. They should call him that, the honey liquor, but it's Liquor, like Meade. But honey liquor makes it sound like he definitely likes the ladies. Bassett has allowed a 263 batting average, 774 OPS to Washington, which are not great numbers. So I believe Washington should be able to get to him in this game. Cade Cavalli is pitching for Washington. He's a little bit harder to predict, I think, because sometimes he looks like he could be a good pitcher, but he is already 27. His numbers are not very good. 4.02 ERA, 1.59 whip is very bad. He's been a little bit better at home, 3.57 ERA, which is interesting because Washington has been one of the worst pitching teams at home this season, but it hasn't really been his fault. He's actually been on the better side of that. He's been not great this month with a 6-4 strikeout walk ratio over 2 starts. He was actually pitching better the couple of starts before that. He was actually quite good at the end of April, but he's kind of gone back into a little bit of a lull, although his most recent start at Miami was okay with 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He has a pretty high strikeout rate overall, mostly because it went way up with his last 2 starts in April, but he does have more than 1 strikeout an inning. He's allowed more than 1 hit per inning, which is the problem, and his walk rate is a little bit high. But he's only allowed 1 home run, so he has not allowed a lot of home runs, which is helping him out. But I think he's getting a little bit lucky because, again, his whip is so high that that's, like, dangerous. Like, his ERA should be higher than that. But he does not have a lot of history against Baltimore. Only Alonso has faced him before because Alonso was on the Mets, so he was in this division. Alonso 1 for 3 with a double off him, but nobody else on Baltimore has faced him. So Cavalli might have an extra edge there, the unfamiliarity over Baltimore. I lean Washington slightly in this game. Probably only first 5. Again, as I already pointed out, Baltimore does have a bullpen edge in this game, so I would limit it to first 5. Washington, I think they have a starting pitching edge in this game. I don't like Bassett. 57% of tickets, 87% of the cash on Baltimore, though, so the money is disagreeing with me again. There is money coming in on the over, and I probably wouldn't disagree with the over. I think most of the components here set up for an over. I would just be worried that Cavalli might actually do well enough that it might limit the runs a little bit, but you got Washington, who's just really bad in general at pitching at home. Their bullpen is awful. Baltimore's bullpen is not that much better, although they are rested, which gives me a little bit of pause there. But Bassett might do so bad in this game, he might get just jacked early in the game and, taken out early in the game. I don't know. The total's at 10, and the money is going that way. 77% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the over. It is that high for a reason. So I don't really disagree with the over there, but yesterday's game was shockingly low scoring too. That game's Fox Sports 1 for what that's worth. But yeah, I think yesterday's game was a little bit of a misleading result probably. Like the fact that this was 3-2 is crazy. Actually, there weren't that many hits in the game. Both starting pitchers actually did all right. 6 hits on each side. Yeah, that's crazy. But I don't think that that's really what these teams are. Philadelphia at Pittsburgh. Philadelphia got the win yesterday in a very high-scoring 11-9 win. Like, if you were going to tell me that game was going to be high-scoring, I would have liked Pittsburgh more than I even did in that game. I mean, I did not have it as a play, but I liked Pittsburgh in the game. Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh scores a lot of runs at home, dude. They're the second highest-scoring home team besides the Yankees. in Major League Baseball this year so far, but Philadelphia unloaded offensively yesterday. Their offense seems to be getting better, which I thought would happen because you look at who they have in the lineup. It's like they couldn't possibly be that bad forever. Philadelphia used a lot of guys out of the bullpen in that one. They used 5 guys out of the bullpen. Pittsburgh used 4, and I don't even think it was an extra inning game. Oh, no, it was. My mistake. It did go to extra innings, so that definitely increased the runs in that game. Yeah, there were 4 runs scored in the 10th inning, and Philadelphia scored 3 in the 9th inning. So Pittsburgh was on the verge of winning that game, and their bullpen blew it. Yeah, that's crazy. Both of these bullpens are pretty bad. I don't want to say pretty bad, but they're mediocre-ish. Philadelphia is 14th now in bullpen, so they've been okay, but their whip indicates they're not as good as their ERA might suggest. Pittsburgh's bullpen a little bit worse than that at 20th. I don't really love any of that. Pirates' offense has been good. They're 7th, and Philadelphia is still not ranked too well. 19th, though. They have been moving up the rankings offensively. Christopher Sanchez, I mean, this is not a game that I would expect to be high scoring with this starting pitching matchup, although the bullpens are definitely questionable. But Christopher Sanchez is pitching for Philly. He's been pretty good. I mean, his ERA is really good at 2.11. His whip is still a little bit too high, 1.28, but he's been good overall. He has not been good on the road, though, 6.97 road ERA, but it's an extremely small sample size. It was 2 games against San Francisco and the Cubs. The Cubs lit him up, but it is concerning that San Francisco got a lot of hits off him. So his road starts have been his 2 worst starts of the season, so that is still concerning. He's been really good recently, though. His last 3 starts have all been really good. This month, he has a 17-1 strikeout walk ratio, 0 ERA, and has allowed 9 hits in 15 innings. Both at home, though. Both of those starts at home against the A's and the Rockies. Rockies, I mean, not impressive to do that to them. A's offense is pretty good, but they're not as good away from home. Still, Sanchez is a good pitcher. His numbers against Pittsburgh are fine. In 58 at-bats, 14-5 strikeout walk ratio is not excellent, but 259 batting average allowed, 628 OPS. That's pretty good. I do expect Sanchez to pitch better here than he has in his other road starts. I will say that. I think he matches up okay here. Bubba Chandler is pitching for the Pirates, and he's definitely got good stuff. He's still really young, so I think he is going to eventually emerge as a pretty good starter. He's shown glimpses of that, but right now I don't think he's that trustworthy. 4.62 ERA, 1.46 whip. He's been a little bit better at home, 4.11 home ERA. He pitched decent in his last outing, which was on the road at San Francisco, but that's a pitcher-friendly park and a very weak offense. He's still only had 3 strikeouts in that game, though, and the outing before that, he had 6 walks in 5 innings at Arizona. You can't do that, man. So overall this month, 7-7 strikeout walk ratio. That is not good. He has way too many walks this season. Unbelievable amount of walks. The number of hits he's allowed is good. It's well below 1 per inning. His strikeout rate you'd like to see higher, given that I think he does have good strikeout stuff, but he has fewer than 1 per inning. The amount of walks is crazy. He's walking, getting close to 1 per inning, which is really bad. So I don't know if I could trust him, man. But Philly has never faced him before. So he does have that advantage, I guess, the unfamiliarity edge. You know, I still consider him to be a talented young pitcher, and maybe he'll do better against Philly. The first couple times they see him, they have to figure him out. As far as Sanchez, by the way, I forgot to go over his season-wide numbers. He's got way over 1 strikeout per inning. His walk rate is pretty low, especially given how many strikeouts he has. He's allowed a few too many hits, though, Sanchez, more than 1 hit per inning. So he's actually been too hittable has kind of been the problem with him. But, yeah, overall, Sanchez is the much more established pitcher in this game. So I think I have to lean to Philadelphia here in this game, and the money seems to agree. 57% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them, but they're laying a pretty ridiculous price here at minus 170 or so. So, I mean, if you did that, you'd have to do a split bet, run line, money line. I don't really love that. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see a better way of playing this. The money's coming in towards the under. I mean, I could see some arguments for a first 5 under. The full game total's 8.5, but you could potentially see both pitchers pitch okay here, so I wouldn't really disagree with an under in the first 5. Do with that information what you want, but I think Sanchez has the edge there, so I don't know. I mean, I think Philly split bet run line, money line might be the better way to play that. I don't know. Pirates, I mean, I still don't know if I fully buy them because I don't know. People were overhyping them at the beginning of the season. I mean, yeah, they have Skeens. I mean, their starting pitching rotation is decent. Like, these guys, like Chandler, should probably start pitching better at some point. Pittsburgh's bullpen is definitely a problem. I don't know. I mean, and I don't know. They're just too young of a team for me to really I don't know. I just don't really see them doing a whole lot. Like, maybe they sneak into the playoffs as a wild card, but I don't see really much beyond that. If they even are able to do that, I don't know. The National League is very, very powerful, and I think Pittsburgh is probably the 3rd best team in their own division. Like, I don't think they're as good as either the Cubs or the Brewers. So, and St. Louis has been playing better than expected, although I still think Pittsburgh is probably better than them. Cincinnati is the worst team in that division. Miami at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay returned home from a road trip and still won yesterday, 7-2, even though I didn't like the starting pitching matchup for them. They were basically going bullpen game-ish against Jansen Junk, and they still won that game. Tampa Bay continues to, I think, overperform, even though I don't think Tampa's a bad team. I think they're better than people, thought that they were at the beginning of the season, but their record is not indicative of what they are right now. They're not as good as their record right now. Tampa Bay used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Miami has had a really good bullpen this year. They use 2 as well. Miami is ranked 2nd in bullpen right now. Pretty good stuff. Tampa Bay has been better in the bullpen for a while now, though they're 11th now, though their ERA is still kind of high, but their bullpen's pretty good, but I think Miami has the better bullpen. Tampa has been better offensively. They're 11th right now. Miami has fallen off down to 21st. Tampa's got the better offense. Sandy Alcantara is pitching for the Marlins here. Overall numbers are decent for him this year. 3.9 ERA, 1.27 whip. He's been pretty bad on the road, though. 6 ERA on the road. That's not a good sign. This month he had one really bad start and one pretty good start, I guess I would say. The bad start at home against Baltimore, the good start at home against Washington. But overall, an 8-5 strikeout walk ratio this month and a 7.84 ERA because he allowed so many runs against Baltimore. It doesn't inspire a ton of confidence, but you could argue the Baltimore start was kind of a fluke because most of his recent starts he's allowed 2 or 3 earned runs. So maybe he bounced back a little bit with that start against Washington. Maybe he's trending back into the right direction here. But his overall numbers concern me. I mean, Alcantara, people were talking about Cy Young potential early this season. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. There's no way. Because we just haven't seen him have his velocity at all since he had Tommy John surgery. I think possibly twice. His velocity just hasn't been there anymore, man. He's not that Cy Young pitcher that he was years ago. You can tell because his strikeout rate is really low. Like way, way, way below 1 strikeout per inning. The number of walks is a little bit high. That's like the strikeout rate plus the number of walks, that's a concern. And then he hasn't allowed that many hits, though, so he is doing what he can with his limited stuff, I guess. He's not allowing that many hits, so he is still pitching pretty effectively given how weak his stuff is at this point, so you got to give him credit for that. Against Tampa Bay, he does not have good numbers, though. In 41 at-bats, 293 batting average, 838 OPS, 4.2 strikeout walk ratio. Not great. He's going up against Nick Martinez, who has been surprisingly good. His first season with the Rays, they seem to get a lot out of their pitching, man, because you look at who the Rays have as their pitchers, and you're like, who the fuck are these guys? You know what I mean? Even though Taj Bradley has actually started pitching better away from Tampa now that he's on Minnesota, but Tampa Bay's got a bunch of starters that are, like, nobody knows who the fuck they are, and they're pitching way better than you would expect. Martinez is one of them, 1.7 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's a veteran pitcher. I think he's been a decent pitcher throughout his career. Not this good. I do expect his numbers to regress, though. But he's been pretty good. His home road splits are not very significant either. He's allowed one or fewer earned run in all but 2 starts this season and never allowed more than 2 earned runs this season. His strikeout rate is not high, but he's not putting guys on base either. A very low walk rate, very low hit rate, well below 1 per inning. So, give him credit. He's pitching effectively, even though his strikeout rate is not that good. His numbers against Miami are pretty good. 36 at-bats. They've seen a decent amount of him because he was in the National League prior to this year. He has 9 strikeouts against them, 3 walks, 250 batting average allowed, 585 OPS. Pretty good numbers there. So Martinez clearly has the better matchup numbers here. I think I would lean Tampa Bay in this one, even though I know they won yesterday. Could be a bounce back from Miami. I think Miami is somewhat the better team, but the money is telling you that that's not even the case. The market read, or the odds makers, Tampa Bay is around a minus 140 something favorite here. So the odds makers are telling you either Tampa Bay is the better team, or maybe the line's a little bit skewed because it has to be, because Tampa's record looks way too good. But also, I think they're telling you maybe Tampa has a decent pitching matchup here. But the money is also backing Tampa. 73% of tickets, 78% of the cash on them. I think I agree, and I don't think the bullpen disparity is really that much. So I think full game, you could do that. If you wanted to go first 5 and just focus on the starting pitching, you could do that as well with Tampa Bay. Not really a strong opinion for me, though. I still think Tampa Bay is going to regress to some extent because they just have too many close wins, man. Even though they do a lot with their limited amount of talent. So give them credit for that. All right. Cy Young in the National League, you mean? Paul Skeens is I don't even think it's that close. Paul Skeens has been completely dominant. Unless he gets hurt or something. I think it has to be him. I don't know. Who else would it be? Who else is even up there? And I was going to say in the American League, it would have been Skubal. But, dude, the American League, I'm going to say it's going to be Schlittler on the Yankees. What can I say? I think he has the best numbers in the American League. I don't know. I'm going to look at the odds real quick to see how far off I am here. Schlittler does have the best odds right now in the American League. He's an underdog, though, against the field, plus 260. Dylan Cease is next, and then I don't think it should be Cease. He just walks too many guys, dude. Then DeGrom, Max Fried, and then Jose Soriano's tailed off. So I was correct about both favorites, by the way. Skeens is plus 140 to win the National League, but Sanchez is right behind him at plus 160. Ohtani and Yamamoto are both behind that at plus 700. Or actually, sorry, Chris Sale is plus 550. Then Ohtani and Yamamoto at plus 700. The National League is a little bit more up in the air, but I'm going to stick with Skeens and Schlittler. Unfortunately, because Schlittler is from Massachusetts and he pitches for the Evil Empire. And he makes shit up. I'm pretty sure he just outright lied about getting death threats from Red Sox fans. I don't think so, man. The Red Sox fans are too busy threatening their own players because they've been that bad. So Red Sox fans don't give a fuck about Schlittler, dude. They got, mildly angry about him pitching well against them in the wild card last year, but that was about it. A lot of them didn't even know who he was going into this year. So, all right. Next game is Cincinnati-Cleveland, the Battle of Ohio. Cincinnati won yesterday, 7-6. I do not think Cincinnati is that good of a team, though. Cleveland is the better pitching team. And this pitching matchup, though, on the surface, this looks like it's a bad pitching matchup on the Cincinnati side. But you dig into it more, that's actually not true. Although I don't like Cincinnati's bullpen. Cincinnati has They used 5 relief pitchers yesterday, too, and their bullpen is bad to begin with. Cleveland used 3. Cleveland definitely has a better bullpen. Cleveland is ranked 12th in bullpen right now, though their ERA is not really that good. Cincinnati's ERA is still worse than that, and they've fallen completely in the tank. They're 28th in bullpen. They're not good. Cincinnati offensively has actually moved up because, dude, they were a bottom several offense, and after 2 offensive explosions, they're all the way up to 16th offensively, which is kind of insane, although I think Cincinnati is not like a total bottom of the barrel offense like they had been earlier this year. Cleveland's offense is actually worse at 24th. I don't think Cleveland's offense is very good, but Cleveland is the better pitching team generally. They will be going up against Chris Paddock, who apparently Miami had enough of him and they got rid of him already, and the Reds picked him up. Paddock, I don't know, man. I mean, teams are still in need of pitching, like whatever pitching they can get. Like basically, this guy has an arm and he's pitched in the majors before. All right, we're going to sign you. So the Reds picked him up. He's been bad this year. All these numbers were with Miami. 7.63 ERA, 1.66 whip. Bad numbers, but he was good on the road, which this makes no sense to me at all. I know it's a small sample size, but Miami, pretty pitcher-friendly park, and his home ERA was 15.88 with them, but 2.79 on the road. Makes no sense. Cincinnati, we'll see how he does in Cincinnati. He's not pitching there today, but that is a hitter-friendly ballpark. Lucky for him, he gets to pitch in a more pitcher-friendly ballpark in Cleveland here. So he might actually pitch well. He's got a 2.79 road ERA this year. He had a horrible start against Philly last time out with Miami. Hasn't pitched since May 3rd. Miami got rid of him. His overall numbers, they're obviously not good. His strikeout rate is actually not horrible, though, and his walk rate really isn't that bad, but he's been way too hittable. He's allowed way more than one hit per inning. So almost 1.5 per inning. So that's been the problem. He's just throwing pitches right over the plate. Maybe something is going to get fixed here. He actually has good numbers against Cleveland, though. In 48 at-bats, which is a decent sample, 5.1 strikeout walk ratio, 167 average allowed, 434 OPS. Those are pretty good numbers from Paddock, dude. He might actually have a good matchup here, and he might actually be pumped to be pitching again, because think about it. When a team gets rid of you and you don't know where you're going to be going, you know what I mean? And then another team, puts their stock in you with their money, you know what I mean? You want to pitch well for them in your first start for them, you know what I mean? Because you want to earn your contract, basically. So I think Paddock might actually pitch well in this game. He will be opposed by Joey Cantillo. I don't know. Cleveland made a starting pitching change because it was going to be Gavin Williams. I don't know why they decided to switch pitching here. I don't know. Cantillo, he's got a good ERA this year, 2.98 ERA, 1.32 whip is not very good, though. He's been pretty good at home, though, 2.08 home ERA. He's pitched decently this month. Cleveland's won all 3 of his starts this month, 3 ERA, but the problem is he's got a 7.7 strikeout walk ratio this month, and that is not good. So that should concern you. He's got too many walks, man. That's his problem. His strikeout rate is decent. It's close to 1 per inning. He's got a ton of walks. He's walking almost 1 guy every 2 innings, and he's not allowing that many hits, fewer than 1 per inning. So his problem is walks. He's too wild. But he might actually do okay here because Cincinnati has basically never seen him before, other than Benson and Lowe, or a combined 0 for 2 off him with a strikeout. So he has unfamiliarity on his side here. This is a pitching matchup nobody's going to pay attention to, but I think there are some arguments to be made for a first 5-inning under here. I would not go full game with it. Cincinnati's bullpen, you definitely want to avoid. Cleveland's is okay, but first 5 innings, these pitchers, believe it or not, I think might actually pitch well, and nobody's going to think that. People don't know who these pitchers are. They're going to see Paddock's awful numbers. 8.5 is the full game total here. But again, we've seen a lot of low-scoring games in this Cleveland Stadium this year as well. A lot of it because Cleveland's offense isn't good and their pitching is fairly good. Money is headed towards the over, though. 66% of tickets, 76% of the cash on the over. That's full game, though. And Cleveland is a big favorite at minus 165. I'm not sure that that's justified, man. Do you think Cantillo deserves to be that heavy of a favorite? Really against, anybody? I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know Cincinnati's not a very good team. They're not as good as their record looks. The money's coming in on Cincinnati, though. 69% of tickets on Cleveland. Only 50% of the cash on Cleveland. I would say that if you're going to play Cincinnati, it's got to be first 5 innings. You cannot play their bullpen. But I don't really want to do that because I think both starting pitchers might actually do okay here. It might wind up being a duel, but I do think Paddock might do surprisingly well in that game. So, I think that's why the market looks the way that it does. Battle of Chicago, Cubs, White Sox. The Cubs won the game pretty easily yesterday, 10-5. I think they had a bigger lead than that for a lot of the game. So I was right. I leaned to the Cubs in that game yesterday. That was correct. This game might be a little bit different, though. White Sox did just lose a win streak, though. And, a lot of times I talk about how when a team loses a win streak, the White Sox had won 5 games in a row. A lot of times when you lose a win streak, it hangs you over into the next game. But they're not going to overlook the Cubs, man. One of the top teams in baseball who also happens to be their main geographic rival. Problem for the White Sox is their bullpen's bad, and they used a bunch of guys out of it yesterday. They used 5 relief pitchers. The Cubs have the better bullpen, and they only used 3. Cubs definitely have a bullpen edge. They're ranked 7th in bullpen, and then they have the rest edge on top of it. White Sox are 25th in bullpen. Not good. Both teams have actually been good offensively. Cubs 4th, White Sox 9th, which is still surprising to me, I know. But this pitching matchup actually looks like these pitchers might actually pitch well. Jameson Taillon is pitching for the Cubs. He's been pretty good this year, 3.94 ERA, 1.14 whip. He's been a pretty consistent pitcher really throughout his career. He's been a little bit worse on the road this year, 4.24 ERA. But he's been pretty consistent. Like I said, he's only allowed more than 3 earned runs twice this season and more than 4 only once. He's got a decent strikeout rate, close to 1 per inning. His walk rate is fairly low. He's allowed well below 1 hit per inning, so that's good. His problem is he's an extreme fly ball pitcher. He allows a lot of home runs. He's allowed 11 home runs this season. That's an issue. This month, he's been pretty solid. He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning in 2 starts, but it was against the Reds and Texas, who aren't exactly powerful offenses. And he still allowed 2 home runs in the game against the Reds. 9 strikeouts, 3 walks overall this month. Not too bad. Numbers against the White Sox are not great, but they're not awful. In 25 at-bats, it's a small sample. Only 6 of their hitters have faced him. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. 280 batting average is too high, but it's all singles. No extra base hits here. 708 OPS, that's not too bad. So I think Taillon, more likely than not, he probably does pitch well here. He'll be going up against one of the big surprises so far this season, Davis Martin, who somehow is pitching really well for the White Sox this year at the age of 29, 1.62 ERA, 1 whip. I mean, based on what he's done throughout his career, you got to think that these numbers are going to get worse. But he's been good. He's been really good at home, 1.02 home ERA. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start since his first start of the season, in which he allowed 3. He's allowed 1 or fewer in every start besides that one that he allowed 2 against Kansas City. He's allowed 1 or fewer in 5 starts in a row now. This month, he has a 19-2 strikeout walk ratio in 13 innings with only 8 hits and 1 run allowed against Anaheim and Seattle. I mean, those offenses are not as good as the Cubs, but still, this is some good stuff, man. But the Cubs will be the best offense he's faced all season. So you do have to put that into perspective. But he's pitching really well so far. But again, mostly against fairly weak offenses. Doesn't have a whole lot of track record against the Cubs. 8 at-bats. Only 4 of their hitters have faced him. No strikeouts, 2 walks, 250 average. 830 OPS is a little bit high. But it's such a small sample. It's just because there are 2 walks from Carson Kelly and a double from Alex Bregman. So I think both pitchers might actually pitch well here. I would lean under first 5 innings in this one. I think I might have said that in yesterday's game, and I don't think that was correct yesterday. But I think in this game it might be lower scoring than yesterday, man. The money doesn't seem to agree on the under, at least for the full game. 93% of tickets, 80% of the cash on the over. I don't see the public coming in and playing an under in this game, though. The total in the full game is around 8.5, which is like in no man's land there. But I do think there are arguments for a first 5 under here. You got unfamiliarity. Both pitchers have been solid this year. They don't have matchup numbers that scare me. So under first 5 innings, I think would be my strongest opinion here. Cubs are getting the money, which I don't know about that either. 52% of tickets on the White Sox, 68% of the cash on the Cubs. If you're going to go Cubs here, the Cubs are a slight favorite, but it's really like a pick-the-winner price. I would go full game if you're going to go Cubs because you want the bullpen advantage, and that's the big advantage they have in the game is the bullpen. But I could see an argument for going first 5 White Sox here, man. Like, just overall, it looks way too easy to play the Cubs here, doesn't it? They won the game easily yesterday. They're the team with the better record. They're the team that's been way better over the recent years. So I don't see how the percentages look like this. To me, it looks like the public would be hammering the Cubs in this game. Both pitchers have decent numbers. Do you really? I don't know. Are they looking at Martin's ERA and being like, oh, yeah, I want to back this guy I've never heard of? I'm not so sure that they are. So, I mean, there might be some value. Well, maybe not necessarily value, but to me, it looks like the line is a trap, is what I mean to say. So it might make sense to play the White Sox because of that, but I would do it first 5 innings if you were going to go White Sox here because they definitely have a big bullpen disadvantage. So White Sox first 5 makes some sense to me, but they might actually be a favorite in the first 5. Next game up is going to be a play for me, finally. White Sox, I mean, if the season ended right now, they'd be in the playoffs, but I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case. And the American League is just absolutely atrocious, and that's part of the reason why their record is as good as it is. The American League, this is like the biggest disparity between the two leagues I think I've ever seen. Like the entire American League besides the Yankees and maybe the Rays is absolutely horrible. And the National League is very good, which pisses me off because I don't like the Yankees, and the Yankees get to face weak competition, and they get to do that all the way to the World Series. Like, I see no possibility that the Yankees don't make the World Series here. I don't see how it happens. I know it's baseball and crazy stuff can happen. It's a close game, but I would be shocked if the Yankees don't make the World Series. And then I would just hope that the National League team they're facing is a good one and is able to beat them. But I think it would be a close series. All right, this next game is going to be a play for me. This one I think is going to be one that is under the radar. We're going to take an under first 5 innings in Milwaukee, Minnesota. And I found this at 4.5 at -117. There are a lot of 4s out there as well at like even money, basically. So you could do that as well. But I like to get, an extra half run, especially if I don't have to pay up to -120 on it. You know what I mean? And it's less than that. Like I did yesterday, I went 7.5 under at -118 in that Yankee Mets game, and that stupid garbage time run by the Mets put it at 7 on the full game. So, I like getting it when I can. That doesn't sound good. Let's look at this matchup here, though. Yesterday's game was pretty low scoring. It was a 3-2 final. Milwaukee's actually been playing some low-scoring games recently. I know Minnesota hasn't really, but look at Milwaukee recently, man. Just overall, in their last 7 games, only 2 of them have seen more than 7 runs scored. So, they've been playing some low-scoring games in general, and some of those were against the Yankees. One of them was a low-scoring game against the Twins yesterday. Now, I'm keeping the bullpens out of the equation, though, because I can't back Minnesota's bullpen. They used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. A couple of them didn't throw that many pitches, but I just don't trust Minnesota's bullpen at all. Milwaukee's bullpen is fine, but they did use their closer yesterday, McGill. They used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. So I'm just going to keep the bullpens out. I mean, Minnesota's the second worst bullpen in baseball. They blow, possibly literally they blowing saves. Milwaukee's been decent. They're at 18th, and their ERA is pretty good, but I'm still going to exclude the bullpens. Minnesota's bullpen can get out of this equation. Offensively, these teams are not terrific. Minnesota is at 14th. Brewers are at 20th, although they are getting better because they're getting some of their guys back. But I don't think these are we're not looking at upper echelon offenses here. And I think these pitchers are going to just completely go under the radar, dude. Nobody knows who these pitchers are. But that's what I like. When you find I like young guys. When you get I sound like John Gruden. When you get these young pitchers who nobody knows who they are and you dig into their stats and they're actually pretty good, that's where you want to, I think that's where you find value. I think this number is fairly high for this total here. Logan Henderson is going to be pitching for the Brewers. He's got a 4.15 ERA, and I know that doesn't look good, but it's a small sample size right now, and he's got a .92 whip, so he's not putting guys on base. He's made 3 appearances so far. He just faced the Yankees, dude. He faced Washington on the road and then the Yankees, and he held each of them to 2 earned runs, and he had a 13-1 strikeout walk ratio over that span of 11 innings, only allowing 7 hits. That's pretty good because those offenses have been top 10 offenses this year, so that's a good sign to me. Overall, he's got a 16-2 strikeout walk ratio so far in 13 innings with 10 hits allowed. I'm liking what I see there, although I worry that he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, but we're not looking at a stadium that matters as much. He's been a little bit worse on the road. Yeah, 4.5 ERA on the road, but it's such a small sample. It's kind of like whatever. That was his first start of the season against Kansas City, and they just limited him to 2 innings. So, if he kept pitching, he might have pitched better, and he didn't do that badly in that outing. And he's got an unfamiliarity edge here because for Minnesota, only Josh Bell has ever faced him before. 0 for 1 with a walk. So he's unfamiliar to the opposing offenses. I think he's a decent pitcher. So I think he's got some advantages in this game for sure. As I always say, the offense, when they haven't seen a pitcher before, they have to spend a few at-bats figuring him out. So a lot of times they aren't good the first couple of times they see him. And Henderson did make 5 starts last season, and he had a 1.78 ERA, .99 whip, had over 1 strikeout per inning, and only had 8 walks, and had a 4.1 strikeout walk ratio. So he was good last year. So that's another indicator that, that gives us more of a sample size to look at. Like, oh yeah, this guy's pitched well at the major league level. So I like that. Then on the other side, Connor Prelip is pitching from Minnesota, and he's actually been pretty good for them so far. 3.32 ERA, 1 whip. He's a rookie. He's made 4 starts so far, but he's been pretty good. His walk number's a little bit high. I'll grant you that. He's got 21 strikeouts, 7 walks across 4 starts so far. You'd like to see that walk number be better, but the rest of his numbers are good. The walk number is still not really that high. Only 12 hits allowed in 19 innings. This is all looking pretty decent to me, man. He's not been that hittable. Hasn't faced great offenses, though. He's faced the Mets, Seattle, Toronto, and Cleveland. But, Milwaukee hasn't been the greatest offense either. He's been pretty similar home and away. The home-road splits are not very significant. This month, he's pitched okay. Just the number of walks you'd like to see be a little bit better. But he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start he's made this season so far. 10-4 strikeout walk ratio this month. Fewer than 1 hit per inning. And if you've noticed, he's gone 5 innings exactly in his last 3 outings. So it seems like they're limiting him to 5 innings. But guess what? That's all right for us because we're going first 5 here because we don't want the Minnesota bullpen anyway. So if they're going to limit Prelip to 5 innings again, that's fine with this play here. Milwaukee, Minnesota, first 5 under is going to be the play. Oh, yeah, and Prelip against Milwaukee, they've never faced him before, obviously, because he's a newcomer to the league or to the majors this year, and he's in the other league. So I think he has that extra edge of being unfamiliar there. So I like this. As far as the market read, though, where is this game? The money does not seem to agree. We got 80% of tickets, 72% of the cash on the under. That is full game, though. Full game total at 8.5, but whatever. The money is actually coming in on Minnesota, though, which actually I kind of like that because I think Prelip is the less proven pitcher right now. I talked about that with some of my unders yesterday. When you see the money indicating on the less proven pitcher, that's a good sign that kind of indicates that both pitchers are expected to actually pitch decently. 66% of tickets, 59% of the cash on Milwaukee. They're a minus 125 favorite or so, which I think is justified. I think they are the better team here, especially in the bullpen, though. But that gives me some confidence that some of the money is actually backing Prelip, even though the money doesn't look like it's coming in on the under. Remember, that money is full game, so it is factoring in Minnesota's awful bullpen, and we're not in our play here. So there you go. Total is sitting around 8.5 for the full game. All right. Usually I take a break about the hour mark. How many games do I have left to talk about? 6. Usually I have 5 left. All right, let's do Texas-Houston. Houston won 2-0 yesterday. Absolutely shocking that Houston pitched a shutout. What are we doing here? With Houston's pitching staff, makes no sense. But Texas is not a good offense, but even so, Houston has had the worst pitching staff in baseball, dude. They're awful. Like, they don't even really have that many good starters. That was Spencer Arrighetti, though, and Arrighetti has been pitching well. And I like that he's Italian, and I like his hair. So, I'm not expecting Houston to shut out Texas this time, though. I think you're going to see a motivated Texas team here. Texas potentially is in a bounce-back spot. When teams get shut out like that, a lot of times they will bounce back and play better in the next game. Texas definitely has a better starting pitcher here. They only used one relief pitcher over the last 2 days. They have the way better bullpen anyway, and they're pretty rested here. Houston only used one relief pitcher yesterday as well, though. But, again, Houston has the worst bullpen in baseball. They're still ranked dead last, and it's, I guess, fairly close with Minnesota in whip, but Houston clearly has the worst bullpen. They're awful. Texas has a good bullpen. They're one of the best. They might still have the best bullpen ERA. No, Atlanta does, actually, but Texas is right up there. They're 8th in whip, but yeah, Texas clearly is the better bullpen. Houston is 5th offensively still, so their offense has been better. Texas does struggle offensively, 26th, but Texas is typically way better on offense on the road, though. Like, their home stadium is just very pitcher-friendly. They don't hit well at home. Opposing teams don't hit well in that stadium either. Texas usually hits better on the road, even though they're still not a good offense, but they usually are better on the road. They got Jacob deGrom on the mound. Looking at this pitching matchup, it looks like a huge mismatch in favor of Texas. deGrom is really good. Of course, as we said, he's mentioned in the Cy Young odds there as one of the top 5 AL pitchers so far. 2.62 ERA, 0.92 whip. That's some good stuff. Hasn't been as good on the road, though. 4.29 road ERA. So you might have to worry about him a little bit on the road. Did have an iffy start against the Yankees in his last road game, but I'm going to give him a pass for that because the Yankees can hit. The Yankees had just seen him in the previous start that he made, and he still had 7 strikeouts and 1 walk in that game. He only allowed 7 hits. I mean, he got a little bit unlucky in that game to allow 6 runs. If you take that start out, he's allowed 1 or fewer earned runs in every start since his first start of the season. So he's been pitching really well. This month, he's got a 17-1 strikeout walk ratio and fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning. His overall numbers are crazy. 57-8 strikeout walk ratio and well below 1 hit per inning allowed. We get it. deGrom is an elite pitcher still. His numbers against Houston are very good as well. In 59 at-bats, 23 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's really good. 153 batting average allowed, 540 OPS. He's got dominant numbers against Houston. Even though they've been one of the better offenses this year, I expect deGrom to pitch well. Even though he doesn't pitch well on the road this year, I still think it lines up for him to pitch well. His road numbers are being skewed by basically 1 bad start. Houston is going to be going with Kai-Wei Tang, who does have decent numbers this year, but most of it was pitching out of the bullpen. 3.12 ERA, 1.08 whip. Those are good numbers. He's been a little bit better at home, 2.45 home ERA. But I don't know how deep he's going to go because they just moved him into the starting rotation recently. They moved him out of the bullpen. He gave up 3 runs in 3 innings last time out. It was at Great American Ballpark, though, in Cincinnati, which is a hitter-friendly park. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I fully trust Tang. He was pitching pretty well out of the bullpen, though. He's got a decent strikeout rate this year, but usually relievers do. He hasn't allowed that many walks or hits this year, but I don't know how trustworthy he really is. And you can kind of look at his previous numbers. He was on San Francisco for 2 seasons. Last year, he made 7 starts, and his numbers were quite bad. Last year, 6.37 ERA, 1.55 whip. I know he's pitching a lot better this year, but I don't know if he's fully trustworthy. Texas has never seen him, though, except Nimmo is 0 for 1 off him with a strikeout. So he might do okay just because he is unfamiliar to Texas, but Houston is very likely going to their bullpen first in this game, and that is not good because their bullpen is awful. So I think I have to lean to Texas here in the bounce-back spot with the better pitching all throughout this game, in my opinion. The money is not agreeing. The money's coming in on Houston. I don't quite get it, man. I mean, it looks like the money is supporting what Tang has done so far this year. Again, it's been all out of the bullpen for him, though. And if you're going to have Houston's bullpen coming into this game somewhere around the fourth inning, I don't see them winning this game. I know they pitched well yesterday, but whatever. 81% of tickets on Texas, 57% of the cash on Houston. Public looks like they want to back DeGrom, plus Texas does have the better record. Texas is in the minus 140-something range. I think that's still what I would do, though. I think I would still money line Texas in that game. That's just how I see it. Next game up is going to be a play for me. I'm going to take a quick break for a second. Yeah, that was one best bet. Paisanos, the calzone. Good episode. It's a misrepresentation that people say that, Seinfeld got really bad in the final seasons or whatever. That's not true. People's opinion is completely skewed by the fact that the finale was bad, like the two-part finale. Yeah, the finale was really bad for Seinfeld, but like every episode besides that in the final season was still good. Like if you go back, and the calzone one was one of them, I'm pretty sure, and like the Frogger episode was one of them. Like there were some really, really good episodes in that last season, and none of the episodes are bad besides the finale. So the final season is good, except for the finale. Tang. He's the beverage of choice for astronauts. That's why he's on Houston. I get it? Yeah. The Houston Astros, and they picked up Tang. There you go. Houston, the site of the Johnson Space Center, which is named after LBJ's huge wang. It's not the Johnson you think. Oh, but he called his Johnson Jumbo, though. All right, hang on. I'll be right back. All right. Next game up is a best bet. It's, Red Sox Braves again here. All right. We're going to do what we did yesterday. We're going under 8 in this game as well. The price is a little bit different at minus 110, but whatever. These two teams have been trending way under. Atlanta doesn't score as much at home. The Red Sox, look at these games they've played recently. Their last 6 games have all seen 5 or fewer runs scored, and all of them but 2 were fewer than that. We got the under correct in yesterday's game. You can also go back to 2 games prior to that, and the Red Sox had another under game prior to that, but they're on a big under trend right now. The Red Sox offense has been terrible. I know Atlanta's is better, but I think the pitching can kind of hold the offense down enough in this game as well. Atlanta... Yeah, they won late 3-2 yesterday. Like I said, it was a dramatic finish, whatever. But look at Atlanta. Like, you think of them as, this high-scoring team because their offense has been hitting well this year. Although I did kind of expect some regression offensively from them given who they have in the lineup. But look at Atlanta. If you go all the way back to when they were at Seattle, I know it's a pitcher-friendly park there, so maybe we shouldn't look at it that far back. But they had 3 games go 5 or less. Then they had 2 high-scoring games where they scored a lot against the Dodgers. Then all the games since then have gone 7 or fewer, and their last 3 games have all been 5 or fewer. So in their last, how many games was that? I had the number correct yesterday. I think it was 6 out of their last 8, so now I think it's 7 of their last 9 games have gone under this total, the Braves. And all of the Red Sox last 7, I think, have. So that's looking pretty good, but then obviously we have to see what's going on with the pitching. And yeah, I know the Red Sox used 4 relief pitchers. They used Chapman last night. They used some of their better pitchers, but they still have some pitchers available, and their bullpen generally has been fairly good. Atlanta has had the best bullpen in baseball, and they used a lot of relievers. I know they used 5, but they're still a pretty trustworthy bullpen, man. I think the starters in this game can pitch decently enough. Obviously, that's going to be part of the handicap here, that they can bridge us to the bullpens, and the bullpens don't have to have that much activity today. The Red Sox are 5th in bullpen, so that's been the one good thing about the Red Sox is their bullpen is actually pretty good. Their ERA is one of the best, actually. And Atlanta is the best bullpen ERA. They're number 1 in WHIP and ERA. Atlanta has been the best offense as well, but I just showed you what they've been doing recently. The Red Sox have been terrible. So even if Atlanta can put some runs up on the board here, I think we could still get this thing under if the Red Sox continue to just never score. Although the Red Sox have actually scored more on the road this year, believe it or not, which makes no sense because Fenway is a hitter-friendly ballpark, and Atlanta is not really. Red Sox are 27th in offense. They're bad. Starting pitching here, Peyton Talley, my man, is pitching for the Red Sox. I'm a huge fan of Talley, man. I mean, he looks the part. He's got good stuff, and he's been pitching well, and he gets really, really pumped on the mound. My one worry is that in his last outing, he pitched on Mother's Day, and he had a really emotional outing because if you don't know, his mother died 2 years ago of cancer. So getting to pitch on Mother's Day was a huge thing for him. He got super emotional during that game. They've been limiting his pitch count, which does worry me a little bit, but their bullpen has been solid this year as well. A couple of starts, he's gone deeper into some of these starts than others. So we'll see what the Red Sox want to do, but they're basically limiting him to around 90 pitches. But he's been good overall. He's got a 2.78 ERA, 0.88 WHIP. I don't really see him being in a letdown spot because he was super emotional after, well, I don't know. He was super emotional after the Yankees started, and he had his worst start of the season the next time out against Toronto. I guess that is somewhat of a concern, but I don't know, man. I think he'll be pumped to pitch against the Braves here. He's actually been better on the road, even though that he had that one really bad start on the road. 2.31 road ERA. How is that even possible? If his worst start on the road, his worst start came on the road against Toronto, but his best start was at Detroit. So I don't know. Very, very strange. And of course, the Braves have never seen him. So he has that going for him. He has the unfamiliarity edge here against the Braves. Again, my only concern is the possible letdown after pitching on Mother's Day. But he's been good overall, and he has the extra advantage of not having been seen before. Bryce Elder is pitching for the Braves, and yeah, I'm going to back him here. Yesterday's game did go extra innings, by the way. I thought it wound up going 9, but it did go 10 innings, which is why there was some extra bullpen usage in that game. Bryce Elder seems to have regained his form, man. Like, he had a couple of seasons where he was a joke, and it was like, dude, it's been crazy. Elder, he was like awesome early in his career. I think he got injured, and then he was just atrocious, but now he's good again. 1.81 ERA, 1.01 WHIP, and while, yeah, his numbers can't remain that good, I don't think he's going to all of a sudden be, like, really bad. His home and road splits are not significant. Basically, he's the same both ways. I mean, he's sustained these numbers throughout this entire season so far, so that is an indicator that he's pretty good right now. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start this entire season. He's allowed very few hits. Well below 1 per inning, like not even he's almost allowing only 1 hit every 2 innings. Well, not quite that, but still crazy. Actually, his strikeout rate has gone a little bit up as well. He's almost striking out 1 per inning, which is pretty good. And the issue with him remains the walks. He's got a few too many walks, but it's not that bad. Although in his last 3 starts, he walked 3 or more in each of them, which is a concern. But he did hold all of those offenses down still. And the most walks he had was against the Dodgers last start, and he still hit them on the road and shut them out for 5 2/3 innings. So that's still a pretty good sign to me. He's got well over 1 strikeout per inning this month, 17 in 11 2/3 innings. 7 walks is a concern, though, obviously, but he's also only allowed 3 hits, so he's been basically unhittable over that span. And the Red Sox do not have good numbers against him at all. In 32 at-bats, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 188 average allowed, 454 OPS. So he's been good against the Red Sox in a decent sample. It's not that small. Under is the call that I'm making in this one. First 5 under, I would agree with as well. The money seems to not agree with me on this. 94% of tickets, 87% of the cash on the under. Full game is pretty much 8 across the board. There are some 7.5s juiced to the over out there. 7 is a more key number than 8, but I would say, yeah, like find, probably you can find an 8 at like minus 115, maybe even still the minus 110 out there. So the percentages don't tell the whole story to me, because to me it looks like the money is actually moving the line down a little bit towards the under, but I don't know. So that is my other play, and then I do have a hockey play coming up in a little bit. Yes. Braves, I'm not really a fan of them, but yeah, they use the tomahawk chop. They're Cole's favorite team, though. All right, New York, the Subway Series, which is going to be one of the 2 games on Fox. Hey, man, do you think more people are going to watch Yankees Mets or Padres Mariners? Dude, even though the Mets suck, I mean, obviously everyone's going to be watching this game instead of the other game. And since they're both on Fox, I think that probably means it's going to be dependent on your local market, but I'm assuming that up here in New England, it's going to be the New York game, because that's what we want, right? We want to watch the Yankees beat the Mets again. That's really what we want. Maybe they won't, but I'm pretty skeptical. Yankees won yesterday against the Mets, as we know. We got the under 7.5 correct, and Clay Holmes got nailed in the leg and broke. Oh, it was his fibula. I got that wrong, unless maybe the article actually might have gotten it wrong. I don't know. He broke one of his leg bones, let's put it that way, and he still basically finished his start. Clay Holmes is a badass, man. That's some NHL shit, man. Like, usually all the leagues besides hockey, besides the NHL, all these other leagues are usually pussified, but apparently not Clay Holmes, because, again, that's something you usually only see in hockey. Like, a guy will break his bone and then just keep playing. Well, that's what he did. But I'm assuming that probably means it was not a serious fracture. But he's going to be out for a while, so that's not good for the Mets, because he's been one of their better pitchers. But whatever, we got the under right, even though we had to dodge that Holmes injury. And the stupid Mets put up 1 run in the 9th inning there to put it on 7 instead of 6. So if you guys had 7, you pushed instead of 1. I gave it out at 7.5. But, the key number, sometimes it does matter. Anyway, this game, what's going to happen in this game, I don't know. The Yankees used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. The Mets used 3. Both bullpens have been decent. The Mets, both teams have the same whip, but the Yankees have the better ERA. So even though the Mets are ranked 9th when I order it this way and the Yankees are 10th, this ordering is fucked up, dude, because you should be able to specify, I want a secondary sort order by ERA here, because the Yankees should be ranked 9th, the Mets 10th in bullpen ERA, or in bullpen, I mean. But both bullpens have been pretty good. Yankees are the way better offense, though, obviously. The Yankees are ranked 3rd right now. The Mets are dead last, 30th still. Carlos Rodon is getting the start for the Yankees, though. He made 1 start so far coming back from injury, and as you can see, it did not go well. 6.23 ERA, 1.62 whip. That's not good. It was a road start. It was at Milwaukee, and he pitched poorly. I think he was on Milwaukee, actually, wasn't he? No, I don't know. For some reason, I thought he was on Milwaukee at one point. I guess I'm wrong. I don't know who I'm thinking of. Anyway, he didn't pitch well. He went 4 1/3 innings, walked 5 guys, only gave up 2 hits, though. Had 4 strikeouts, gave up 3 earned runs. The walks were really the huge issue with him there. But that's correctable. He might be able to correct that. If you look throughout his career, though, I think walks have kind of been an issue for him, though, throughout his career. So that's not really something new. Numbers against the Mets are pretty good for him, though, in 65 at-bats. 215 batting average allowed, 682 OPS, 14 strikeouts, 6 walks. Again, it's a lot of walks, but 4 of the 6 are Juan Soto. And a lot of the at-bats are coming from Bichette and Semien. And Semien has not even hit him that well. So, yeah, Rodon might have a decent matchup here. I actually kind of think he's going to do better in this outing than he did in his first outing. A lot of times when a guy comes back from injury or whatever, a lot of times he is a little bit shaky in that first outing. He's going to be going up against a Mets bullpen game. Huascar Brazaban is listed as the opener here. He's not really a starter. He's been pitching well this year, though. 2.14 ERA, 0.95 whip, but he's pitching in short stints, obviously. 1.54 home ERA. He's been good. But again, he's given you like 1-2 innings basically every time he goes out there. And his last outing was a few days ago, and he went 2 1/3. So I think he's only going to go 1 inning here. And the last time he did that, he allowed 2 runs, which was back on the 10th at Arizona. And then I'm pretty sure David Peterson came in behind him. I think that's what the Mets have been doing. So I think it is going to be David Peterson coming into this game after Brazaban. Or Brazaban. I don't know how you pronounce it. David Peterson has been bad. I think you're going to get him for many innings in this game. 5.49 ERA, 1.5 whip. I mean, you know if you watch my show that I've never been a fan of him. He hasn't been good at home either. 6.75 home ERA. He last pitched on the 10th, so I do believe it is going to be him coming in after an opener from Brazaban. I believe Peterson's going to come in and give you 4 or 5 innings here. But the last 2 times he did that, he was actually good at Colorado and at Arizona, and those are hitter-friendly ballparks. He had 9 strikeouts, no walks. He didn't walk anybody, which is a new thing for him, and only allowed 7 hits in 9 innings. So he actually pitched well in this role. Like, what is he, Brian Bayo? A pitcher who I'm just like, this guy fucking sucks, whatever, and then all of a sudden he pitches better behind an opener, although Bayo has been better in that role than Peterson has. But Peterson looks like he's actually serviceable in this role, so he might actually be okay here. And his numbers against the Yankees, believe it or not, are actually somewhat good. In 51 at-bats, 196 average allowed, 619 OPS, 11-8 strikeout walk ratio. So if it is going to be Peterson, and I believe it is, you know, he might actually do okay here. So, I mean, it sounds insane, but I think an under still kind of makes sense in this game. Nobody's going to want that. I mean, what are we doing here? Rodon, who looked awful against a bullpen game. But I think it's going to be Rodon pitching better this time. He has good matchup numbers against mostly David Peterson, who has decent matchup numbers. And then the bullpens are both decent as well. I like the under here, but the money's completely disagreeing. 59% of tickets on the under, 74% of the cash on the over. Obviously, this is not going to be a play for me here, but 8.5 is the full game total. It's not really that high. And, of course, we know the Mets have not been able to score, so they may continue to fail to score here. The Yankees are the favorite, but the money is fading them. 82% of tickets, 63% of the cash on the Yankees at about minus 120-something here on the money line. The money is looking like it's indicating towards the Mets here. You know, I mean, I could see some argument for it. Like, I don't know, but the Mets did just lose a 3-game win streak or whatever, so maybe they'll be a little bit hungover. But you know they're not going to overlook the Yankees, though. But I don't know. It seems like the money is backing this bullpen game with David Peterson there over Rodon. Do with that information what you want, but I think my opinion in that game would be under. Still don't want to do that at all. Basketball, yeah, it's all flopping and foul calls that are just rigged pretty much. Being a Mets fan, being a Red Sox fan is worse. The Red Sox actually looked like they could do... Well, I thought the Mets would be pretty good this year, too. It's just insane how bad really both the Red Sox and the Mets have been this year with the amount of money that those teams have and the talent that I think the rosters have. San Diego at Seattle. We won on the under in this game yesterday really easily. San Diego won 2-0. We did get the good start out of Vasquez. I know some professionals are questioning Vasquez. They don't like his underlying metrics, whatever. He pitched well. Hancock pitched well in the game as well, but it was just the scoring went to San Diego and they won the game. This game, I'm not, as opinionated towards the under in this one. I still like both bullpens, but San Diego did use Mason Miller yesterday. They used some of their better relievers yesterday, and Matt Waldron is on the DL now, man. Oh, no. That means San Diego doesn't have their knuckleballer anymore. But San Diego, their bullpen is still really good, but keep in mind they did use their better relief pitchers yesterday to hold off Seattle and get the save. Seattle has a good bullpen as well. They used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Their better relievers are somewhat available today. San Diego's ranked 6th in bullpen right now. They are definitely one of the better bullpens. Seattle's ranked 15th, but they have one of the best bullpen ERAs. They're a good bullpen as well. That was part of the handicap yesterday. San Diego's really struggled offensively. They're at 28th. Seattle started to hit a little bit better, and they're up to 15th. I do think Seattle is the better offense here. We're looking at a pitcher-friendly park because both these teams play in pitcher-friendly parks. Walker Buehler is pitching for San Diego. I don't think he's good. I mean, obviously, his numbers suggest that he has not been good since he had Tommy John surgery. What else is new? He's never really been able to bounce back from it. This year, he's got a 5.2 ERA, 1.35 whip, not really good. He's been pretty bad on the road, 10.13 road ERA. Although he might do better in this stadium because it is against Seattle. He pitched against Seattle in the middle of April in San Diego and held them to 2 runs in 5 innings, so that was pretty good. It was one of his better starts of the season. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he may actually pitch okay here. You look at his overall numbers, they're actually not that bad. His strikeout rate is a bit below 1 per inning, but it's not horrible. He's allowed almost 1 hit more per inning than the amount of inning. He's allowed a little bit over 1 hit per inning, let's put it that way, which is, tolerable. And then his walk number is not really that bad either, like 1 walk per 3 innings or whatever that is. So his overall numbers actually suggest that he's not really that bad right now. And, when you dig into his numbers that are not actually his ERA and whip here, his ERA is probably higher than maybe it really should be. And San Diego, ridiculously, has won 5 of his last 7 starts. Even though I still don't really trust Buehler, but he does have decent numbers against Seattle. In 49 at-bats, 224 average, allowed 660 OPS, 14-8 strikeout walk ratio. It's too many walks, but he's got a good matchup here, it looks like, and a pitcher-friendly park, and his overall numbers suggest that maybe he's not quite that bad. He'll be going up against Logan Gilbert, who's been pretty decent for Seattle, 3.78 ERA, 1.16 whip, although shockingly he's been worse at home. 4.91 home ERA, and typically, like all Seattle pitchers, he's better at home. It's a hitter-friendly ballpark, but somehow his ERA is over 3 runs higher at home, and he's allowed 7 of the 8 home runs he's allowed at home this season, although it is also in more innings pitched, but still, allowing that many home runs at home is very mystifying. I don't know what's going on here. He pitched really well in his last start, which was on the road. 1 hit shutout for 6 innings against the White Sox with 9 strikeouts and no walks. But that tells you he's in pretty good form for the most part. He's allowed more than 3 earned runs only twice this season. One of them was this month, though, against the Braves. But he allowed 4 solo home runs in that game and somehow still only allowed 4 runs. That's why he has 7 home runs allowed or whatever in this stadium this year. But, that start seems a little bit fluky to me. And the Braves have been one of the best offenses this year. I think Gilbert is good overall. He has a really good strikeout walk ratio. He has more than 1 strikeout per inning, fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning, and a low walk rate. So his numbers are good. Against San Diego, he does have good numbers as well in 69 at-bats. 19-2 strikeout walk ratio, 203 batting average allowed, and 588 OPS. These are pretty dominant numbers here. So, I kind of like Seattle to bounce back here. I would not disagree with the Seattle side, but they're like, they have their better relievers available today. I think they have the starting pitching edge somewhat here. They're around minus 160 something here. People got to stop revving their engines outside, man. I'm beyond tired of it. But yes, what was I even saying? I don't know. Yeah, I would slightly lean towards Seattle on the side here, but I think I prefer the under in this game. But yeah, I think I lean to Seattle slightly, but you would have to go split bet run line money line there because they're around a minus 160 price, which is a bit high. And the money seems to not agree. 90% of tickets, 89% of the cash on them. So they're the public side with less of the money on them. Under looks like it's not getting the money either, though. 53% of tickets and 86% of the cash on the over. But this is a 7 total here. So the odds makers, it's juiced to the over. The odds makers are telling you this is going to be a low-scoring game here at that number. So when they're telling you that, usually I'm looking towards under in a game like that. I think the starting pitching might be good enough. Plus, the bullpens are both good. So, yeah, I like under the best in that game and a slight lean to Seattle to bounce back after getting shut out at home yesterday because I think Gilbert is still better than Buehler, and Seattle didn't use their better relievers yesterday like San Diego did. All right, we have the Battle of L.A., Dodgers at Anaheim. Dodgers won 6-0 yesterday, so again, maybe there's a bounce back potential for Anaheim here after getting shut out at home yesterday. Dodgers are obviously the better team, though. But the Dodgers used all of their bullpen yesterday, which is insane. They went with a bullpen game, actually. I don't know what happened because it was supposed to be Snell, but Snell got scratched like a horse in one of these horse races. He got scratched. Maybe, yeah, I don't know what happened there, but the Dodgers went with a bullpen game. Snell did not pitch, so the Dodgers bullpen is pretty run out right now. They used all but Tanner Scott yesterday. That's not a good sign for the Dodgers here. So Anaheim, even though their bullpen is really bad, they're way more rested. They only used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Dodgers still have the better bullpen in general, number 4. Anaheim is 27th, but I think that usage yesterday almost pretty much negates the Dodgers bullpen edge, in my opinion here. Dodgers have the better offense. They're tied at number 1 with the Braves, which is not surprising. Anaheim has been mediocre. They're at 18th offensively. This matchup, I mean, the situation looks like it favors Anaheim here. The bullpen is more rested for Anaheim here. And I think this is a starting pitching matchup where Anaheim could win. Justin Robleski is pitching for the Dodgers, and I know he's been good this season. I just don't think that this is going to continue, man. He's got a 2.42 ERA, 0.99 whip, but he's just not a pitcher that is a dominant pitcher. He doesn't have great stuff. He's been better on the road, though, a 1 ERA, so I'm not really that tempted to fade him, but it does look like he's trending in the wrong direction. He just gave up 7 runs in an outing against the Braves, but he almost pitched the complete game, and it was on 7 hits, so he got unlucky. Again, the Braves were hitting home runs, so I think the Braves are kind of getting some fluke runs with all the home runs they're hitting. He had 7 strikeouts, 1 walk in that game still, after no strikeouts in a 6-inning shutout against St. Louis. And he had a shutout against the Cubs the game before that, and a shutout against the Mets 2 starts prior to that. So, yeah, I mean, there are some arguments to be made that that was a fluky outing against Atlanta where he actually pitched better than the number of runs that he allowed would suggest. And I agree with that. You don't usually allow 7 runs on 7 hits and 1 walk. So I think he will pitch better than that in this game. But overall, I mean, he's just not a good strikeout pitcher. He has fewer than 1 strikeout every 2 innings, but he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning by a lot. And he has not put a lot of guys on base via the walk either. So, yeah, generally, yes, he's pitched really well this season, but he just doesn't have, like, the stuff, you know, to maintain numbers like this. His numbers against Anaheim are pretty good, though. In 7 at-bats, it's a very small sample. Only Teodosio, that's the only hit he's allowed to them, a double. He's got no strikeouts, 1 walk against them, 143 average, 536 OPS allowed. So I don't really want to fade Robleski here, but there are definitely arguments to be made that Soriano is the better pitcher here out of the 2. Jose Soriano's pitching for the Angels. He's been good against every team who's not the White Sox this season. He's got a 1.66 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's usually not as good at home, and that's still the case this year, but 2.38 ERA at home is not exactly bad. But last year, he was significantly worse at home, so we do have to worry about that a little bit, that he is usually better on the road. This season, like I said, all of his starts against teams who are not the White Sox, he allowed 1 or fewer earned run in all of them, including last time out, we won. I gave you guys a winner on Anaheim against Toronto in his most recent start. He pitched really well in that game against Toronto. So he seems to be right back in form. After that, he gave up 1 run in 7 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. It was on the road, but I think he's obviously capable of pitching well here. He hasn't faced the Dodgers yet, but he has faced Atlanta, the Cubs, Houston. He allowed 1 run combined across those 3 starts against 3 other offenses that I think are kind of comparable to the Dodgers. The Dodgers are still debatably better than them. But he also has good numbers in his career against the Dodgers. In 28 at-bats, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks, no extra base hits allowed, 179 average allowed, .437 OPS allowed. Soriano, I think, might pitch well here, man. I am going to lean Anaheim here. You got Soriano, who I think is better than Robleski. I think Robleski, because his stuff isn't as good as Soriano's. And you can tell that, by the way, I should have gone into this. Soriano has a really high strikeout rate, well over 1 per inning, and he's allowed well below 1 hit per inning. His walks are just a little bit of a concern. He's walked too many guys. But Soriano has the way better, stuff at the major league level, you know what I mean? And I think he can pitch well here. So I do lean to Anaheim slightly. The money seems to agree. 73% of tickets, 70% of the cash on the Dodgers. I'd probably actually go full game, believe it or not, for Anaheim to bounce back. Their bullpen, I know it sucks, but it's way more rested than the Dodgers bullpen. So I think that kind of negates the Dodgers bullpen edge, like I said. The Dodgers are minus 140 here. I don't really know that Robleski should be given that much credit against a pitcher who's, almost certainly better than he is. I would not disagree with the first 5 under in this game either. I think both starting pitchers could continue to pitch well here. The money doesn't agree with that, though. On the full game, it doesn't. 89% of tickets, only 74% of the cash on the under. But remember that if the money is coming in on a full game over, which would be over 8.5, it's taking into account the Dodgers having no bullpen rest and Anaheim having a terrible bullpen. So that's why I'm saying that if you play under here, I would lean first 5 under, and yeah, you don't want the bullpens to be factored into that. But I think the better way to play it is actually still to play Anaheim on the money line in that game. The public's not going to want to do it, man. The public is obviously going to play the Dodgers there. So, all right. San Francisco at the A's in the Battle of the Bay. Although the A's are no longer the Bay team, man. They're in Sacramento now, and then they're going to move to Vegas. So what the fuck are we doing here? And they're the homeless A's still right now. The A's won the game yesterday 5-2. Despite being in a return home spot, I think. Oh, no, they weren't. My mistake. They were already at home. That's right. They played against St. Louis. That's right. I forgot about that. All right. But anyway, yeah, I mean, these two teams are kind of like opposites in a way. San Francisco's a better pitching team. The A's are a better hitting team. And it's fairly significant in both directions. San Francisco used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. The A's used 4. A's do not have a good bullpen. The A's are 23rd. San Francisco is only ranked 19th here, but they do have a pretty good ERA. I still think their bullpen is pretty solid. I think clearly it's the better of the two. A's are clearly the better offense at 6th right now, and the Giants are 29th. Man, Giants, yeah, continue to struggle offensively. Maybe they'll hit a little bit better on the road here at the A's, though, because it's a pitcher-friendly stadium. Trevor McDonald is pitching for San Francisco. Pretty interesting. He's been pretty good. He's still young, 25 years old. He's got a 2.92 ERA this year, 1.05 whip. That's pretty good, although it's a small sample size. One concern is he's been bad on the road, though, 5.06 road ERA. It's a very, very small sample size, though. It was 1 start against the Dodgers. So what can you really take away from that? I don't know. I don't think he's quite as good as a very good home start against San Diego in a pitcher-friendly park against a bad lineup. I don't think he's as bad as maybe he looked against the Dodgers, even though he wasn't even really that bad in that game on the road against an elite offense. He gave up 9 hits, though, so he did get hit around in that game, but held them to 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks in 5 1/3 innings. Overall, he has 12 strikeouts and 2 walks this season, so that's pretty good. And he's extremely imbalanced towards the ground ball, and that is good for pitching in the A's stadium because, you know, if you're a fly ball happy pitcher, that's not good because this is a home run conducive stadium. So I think it is good for McDonald coming into this game, and he induces a ton of ground balls. Now, he did pitch over the last couple of seasons, did have a pretty good ground ball rate last year. 2024, he pitched a little bit as well. He only had 1 outing in 2024, but was extremely ground ball heavy in that game as well. Last year, he was pretty good. He made 2 starts, 3 appearances, 3.6 ERA, 1.07 whip. So I don't think what he's doing this season is really a fluke. Like, we're seeing, you know, the sample size getting larger, and he's continuing to pitch well. And he's got a good style of pitching for this stadium, so I think he is going to pitch well here. And the A's have never seen him before, so I think that's an advantage to McDonald. The unfamiliarity edge there. Not going to make it a play, but when I started handicapping this, I thought I was going to give out a play on San Francisco here. I do like them here. And Luis Severino, I like to fade him when he's pitching at home here. He does not have good numbers this season. 4.07 ERA, 1.52 whip for the A's. He's again been worse at home, 4.91 home ERA. He's allowed 4 of his 5 home runs. He's allowed at home in way fewer innings pitched. So again, it makes sense because this stadium is really bad for pitching in. And he was an extremely imbalanced home road pitcher last year, where, of course, he was way worse at home than on the road last year. And it looks like we might be getting more of that this year. So you definitely wanted to fade him at home in this bad stadium. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. This month, he hasn't been particularly good. In 2 road starts, he only allowed 3 earned runs in 10 1/3 innings, which is good, but he walked 6 guys and had 7 strikeouts over that span. That was against Philly and Baltimore. So that's not a good sign that he's putting a lot of guys on base via the walk, and that wasn't even in this home stadium. Overall, he's got a decent strikeout rate, almost 1 per inning, and he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning, but his walk rate is really high. He's allowing, getting close to almost 1 per inning. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's still getting up there. He's walking way too many guys, dude. Against San Francisco, this is where I stop, and I can't actually give you San Francisco here because he has good numbers against San Francisco. They're just a pitiful offense. He has 88 at-bats against them, although a lot of them are Devers and Chapman, but they haven't hit him at all. Only Adames and Arias, I guess, they both hit him pretty well. But overall, he's got a 19-9 strikeout walk ratio against them. I know that's too many walks again, but 227 batting average allowed, 636 OPS. So he does have overall good numbers against San Francisco. I'm still going to lean San Francisco here, though. The money is heavily agreeing with me. A's 64% of tickets on them, 74% of the cash on San Francisco. Severino, still, you want to fade him when he's at home. He's got bad home road splits. McDonald looks like he's a good style of pitching for this stadium. He's a young, unfamiliar pitcher here to the A's. He's pitched well so far in his career. I like all that. You're getting San Francisco as an underdog. They have the better bullpen as well. You need them to score some runs, but, I like pitching over hitting. So, I like San Francisco. You're getting them as a dog here. A's are around minus 130 something or so here. So, moneyline Giants would be my opinion in that game. That's the way I would play it. I'm not going to lie, it's tempting. And if Severino had worse matchup numbers, it would probably be on my card. So that's one of the ones I like better today. That's one of the ones that's not on my card that I like better. In fact, I think that's probably my next best opinion out of all these games. Like, I don't like the board today, as you can probably tell. But I think that's probably my next strongest opinion would actually be San Francisco. So take, from that what you want, I guess. Yeah. All right. It's I don't know what to even call it because I live in an area with a lot of Indian people, so it's poo fast, poo furious. I don't want to get this channel nuked though. Hindian, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yes, sir. Yes, like and subscribe here. Let's go. All right, let's go to the only game we have left is a hockey game, and I have a play on it. There's no NBA, no NHL. San Antonio did advance, unfortunately for us. We will get a Game 7 tomorrow in the Eastern Conference game between Detroit and Cleveland, and I may actually give out a play on that game. We'll see. But I will have a play on this one hockey game here. Buffalo and Montreal, Game 6. Montreal is trying to win the series here at home, up 3-2. This is on ABC tonight. I think all my games are night games today, by the way. This game, we're going to do it. We're going to zigzag it and play Buffalo this time to stave off elimination as an underdog price that I think is pretty decent. I'm recommending a split bet on the money line and run line. This was at the book with the Lion had really good odds on this at plus 145 on the money line. If you wanted to just go money line to put less money at risk on it, you could do that too. I'm going to split the bet though. So if they lose by 1, which you've seen a lot of one goal games in the series, so that could definitely happen. If they lose by 1, it'll push in my case. I found the plus 1.5 at minus 165 at the M book with the Lion. You know what I mean? So this comes out to a minus 108 plus 1 puck line here. So that's the math. So I like that. That's right in the range, that you want. If you did it out of 100 or to win 100, you'd put about 67% of it on the puck line part of it, on the minus 165, and whatever that nets, which is about 40, 41, you put the rest of that on the money line. And the way that works is, of course, if they at least lose by one, if they lose by exactly one, your bet will push. You know what I mean? Because you'll win that puck line part of it, and that will cover the amount that you lost on the money line. But, of course, if they win outright, you're going to win the whole thing. Now, why do we like this here? Let's look at it. Well, the market read we'll talk about in a minute, and that is supporting me. But why do we like this? Montreal has looked like the better team during this series. I don't disagree with that. They've had 2 4-goal wins here. And they've had a 3-goal win as well. But there are some things that I like about Buffalo here. Actually, I'm wrong about the 1-goal games. There's only been one. My mistake. And it was a Buffalo win. Buffalo did also win by 2 in one game. So my mistake. But first of all, let's look at the game that we had last game. Montreal won 6-3 in Buffalo. And a lot of times I talk about this. When a team loses at home and then they go on the road and play that same team again, if there was something misleading about that result, a lot of times you see that team do better in that next game. And Buffalo blew this game, dude. Buffalo was winning the game early. They were winning the game 3-2 in the first period. They didn't trail in the first period. They were alternating leading and tied game. Then they just didn't score again after that. And Montreal did also have 2 power play goals in the game. So even strength, Montreal only won this game 4-3. But if you look at the box score here, Buffalo had more shots. They had more scoring opportunities by 10 on the shots on goal. So that kind of indicates that Buffalo was playing better and had more offensive possession here. They had more hits as well, even though they haven't been the more physical team most of the time throughout the series, but they did outplay Montreal in this game, it looks like. Montreal did win the face-off battle, but it was close at 55.9%. But this indicates to me that this was a misleading final result, so we're going to go with Buffalo to keep this closer. And the thing that put me over the top is Montreal has not been that good at home during the playoffs. I know they beat Tampa Bay in 7 games. They're winning this series right now. But you want to guess what you'd think that they'd have a good home record in the playoffs, thinking, oh my God, they beat Tampa Bay in 7 games. They had to have done well at home, right? They're winning this series, against Buffalo. They had to have done well at home, right? Well, actually, no. They've been better on the road in the playoffs. On the road, they won 3 road games in the first series against Tampa Bay. They went 3-1 in the first series on the road against Tampa Bay. And in this series, I believe they're 2-1 on the road in this series. They won 1 game on the road, and they won 2 games on the road and lost one of them, which was the game 2 of this series. So Montreal is 5-2 as a road team in the playoffs this year, and at home they're 2-3. They lost both of the games that they lost in the Tampa. Or no, excuse me. They lost 1 road game and 2 home games against Tampa Bay. Sorry, my mind's all over the place. They went 1-2 on their home ice against Tampa Bay, and the only home game that they won in that series was by 1 goal. I think that's what I was thinking of. So they did not cover this puck line in any of their home games in the Tampa Bay series, although, yes, Tampa Bay is a better team than Buffalo. And this series, yes, they did cover that number once with a 6-2 home win, and I did talk about that. I didn't think that actually, I think I did think this was a little bit of a misleading result, didn't I? No, I guess I didn't. Montreal did kind of dominate that game. I don't know what I was thinking, but Buffalo still bounced back in the next game and won anyway. But I didn't like it well enough to make it a play. Montreal, I believe, did I give out a play on Montreal in the most recent game? I don't know if I did. I think I might have, because it was a bounce back spot for them, I think, and they outplayed Buffalo in the prior game and wound up winning, but they were not really the better team in this game. I'm rambling, though. We're going back to what is their home record in the playoffs? Okay, yeah, in this series, they're 1-1 at home. So overall, they're 2-3 at home in the playoffs, and they've only won by more than 1 goal once at home in the playoffs this season. So we're fading that. Like, Montreal has not been that great at home during the playoffs. If we look at the last home game they had, what were they favored by? They were minus 148 in their last home game, and it went up from minus 125, so the money did back Montreal there. But now we're looking at Montreal being a way heavier favorite, dude, at minus 160-something. Like, that's insane. Like, Montreal is the heaviest favorite they've been all season here, like all postseason here. And I think that's just because, is it because it's an elimination game and they don't even have to win. Like, they could go win on the road in Buffalo. So, I think the thought, I guess, is that Montreal's got to win here because they don't want to have to go back to Buffalo. But I'm not sure that that's even that true because I showed you Montreal's been really good as a road team in the playoffs this year. So I think you're going to get a bigger effort out of Buffalo. Of course, Buffalo is a big underdog here, probably too big, facing elimination, and the money's agreeing with me. 76% of tickets on Montreal, 68% of the cash on Buffalo. Yeah, money agrees with me. I say let's do it. The money's coming in on the over, which I don't love, that the total's between 6 and 6.5, so it's looking like bettors are expecting, and odds makers are expecting to be a high-scoring game. I don't love that necessarily. For, playing an underdog, you kind of want this to be like a 3-2 type of game, but whatever. We're doing it anyway. I just showed you why. Montreal's been worse at home than on the road in the postseason. I think it's a zigzag spot for Buffalo here. You're getting them as too big of an underdog price, in my opinion. This line has been heavily, heavily juiced towards the favorite here, and I think not really legitimately so. Even though I think Montreal is the better team, I don't think it's by that much. So we're going to take Buffalo in that one. Split bet, puck line, money line, and that's going to do it. Yeah, I would like to see Canada not win, but I don't like Buffalo as a team. I mean, come on, man. They got Benson or whatever, one of the cheapest players in hockey. Can't stand him. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not a fan. At least Montreal is where my grandfather was from, but whatever. Buffalo also, they have the most gay beer containment device that I've ever seen. They have a saber of beer that looks all glittery, and it's completely phallic. You know what it looks like when you're drinking one of those. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And these Sabres fans think that it's awesome or something. I'm like, nah, you're gay. Nope. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Every other team has a better beer container than Buffalo does. All right, that's going to do it. My plays today, one more time, are two of them in baseball. We have a first 5 under in Brewers-Twins. 4.5 is what I found on that at a pretty decent price. Probably would still go under 4 at a, you get a decent price on that probably. We're going full game under again in Red Sox Braves, under the 8, and then we're doing a split bet, puck line, money line on Buffalo to get that price down a bit. Or if you can find a +1 puck line at some book, you can do that too. I found the best prices at the Lion, like I said, the M book. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. You can subscribe to me on Twitter. That helps me out if you want to support me that way. Like and subscribe to the channel here, man. Let's boost these numbers. We're hot, dude. I'm giving out some of the best information out there right now. We're on a roll. Let's keep it going. We bounced back with a pretty nice day yesterday, so let's keep it going. 78, 37, and 5 run now. You can see it at the bottom there over the last 42 days. Let's keep it going. Whatever I said, I think it's I don't know. I think it's something like 18 and 3 over the last 8 days or something like that. All right. Yeah, that's going to do it. Subscribe to the channel here. Let's boost this thing. Like I said, we're on audio. Apple, Spotify, we're over there as well. Spreaker. Listen, give me good reviews over there. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. Check that out as well. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can throw me some support there. I put up a new cover last night. I don't know if the chick who requested it has responded to me yet, but check out that new cover. It's Billy Joel. It's not a song I'm that familiar with, so hopefully I did it justice. I learned it and did the cover of it pretty quickly, to be honest. I've heard the song before, but I didn't really know it that well. And what else do we have to promote here? Loser Cast every Tuesday night. Go check that out. I don't know who my selection is going to be this week. This past week I went with Disney adults, so you can vote for them in the poll if you want me to win again for the loser. G-Spot Giants podcast will be back at some point. I know I keep saying that, and it hasn't happened. Be on the lookout for that, and obviously subscribe here because I will be doing an NFL win total show soon. I already have it all in mind of what I want to talk about, so that's going to be coming soon. I just got to get around to do it, man. The schedules got released on Thursday, I think, so we know what those are now. And I did a Preakness show. The Preakness is this evening. So I talked about that. I did a separate show for it last night. Go check that out as well. It is up on the channel. It is up on audio. Go check that out. That's going to do it. Peace, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.